Let's go! We're weeks away from the big September Apple event, and obviously, as it's a tradition for the last 2-3 years, we're going to be seeing new iPhones and Apple Watches, and also a new iPad. But at the same time, I do feel that this event is going to be really exciting and very disappointing. Let me explain. In this video, I'm going to go over all the leaks, all the rumors surrounding the iPhone 14's, Apple Watch Series 8 and even the new budget iPad. So grab something to eat and let's get into it. Big props to Ian Zelbo and Renders by Shailesh for making these amazing renders of the iPhone 14 Pro. So let's start with the date for this event. Many sources say it's either going to happen on September 6th or 7th, which is kind of early for the September event. For the last 2 years, we have gotten invites on the first week of September and the event on the second week. Quick update, as I was editing this video, the event invites just went out, and as you can see, it is happening on the 7th of September. And also it looks like it's going to be space themed for some reason, and it's called Far Out. So yeah, drop your wild expectations on this. The least exciting product is got to be the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch isn't really getting any major upgrades over here. The Series 7 is already perfect, so they're just refining over the Series 7 with the Series 8, which is getting a new body temperature sensor which helps you detect higher or lower temperatures from your body and low power mode. Alright. But really, there's apparently an Apple Watch Pro of sorts in work, and it's apparently gonna have a stronger material covering it, possibly titanium. It's also getting a bigger screen, probably even a new design, and the longest battery life ever on an Apple Watch. But at the same time, a Pro Watch doesn't really make sense. But whatever, it's Apple, they'll just throw Pro into everything. But if you're looking for a cheaper Apple Watch, the Apple Watch SE is also going to get an update. The chip is getting an upgrade from the S5 to possibly the S7 or the S8, which would be 20% faster than the current SE, and that's about it. I feel like the Apple Watch SE really needs an always-on display. I don't care about the body temperature sensor or whatever sensor you guys are going to put, but the Apple Watch SE needs an always-on display. So every Apple Watch that Apple currently sells is going to be discontinued after this event. And thank God Apple's finally gonna discontinue the Apple Watch Series 3, which I don't know why they're even selling it in the first place. Next up, let's talk about the budget iPad, which is gonna get its biggest update in a very long time. The budget iPad has been the best product Apple has been selling for the last 5 years. It does lack a lot of things that higher end iPads have, but I feel like they're closing the gap this year. So it's going to be getting the flat edge design that we got with the iPad Pros in 2018, which means we're getting USB-C and Apple Pencil 2 support, which is long overdue. The 9th gen iPad is the only iPad in the lineup that uses the 1st gen Apple Pencil and a lightning port. But also, this leaked design looks very weird. It looks like Apple just took the iPad Air's chassis and stuffed in all the iPad 9th gen guts into it. But anyways, they have to do something to differentiate it from the higher end iPads. But at least, Apple, please give us a laminated display. Along with the new design, USB-C and Apple Pencil 2 support, we are also getting the A14 Bionic and 5G. 5G. With all these improvements, the price is most definitely going up. It'll probably start at $399, which isn't a bad price increase, mind you, because this iPad now is gonna have a lot more value than before. And a sub to this channel would be Far Out. That's better. And also would put you in the miniature squad. Alright, let's talk about the iPhone, the one that I'm really excited about and also disappointed about at the same time. So as it's the tradition for the last 4-5 years, there's going to be a standard iPhone and a Pro iPhone. So let's start with the standard iPhone, which is going to be the iPhone 14. And it doesn't really look like it's an upgrade at all. The iPhone 14 is going to look exactly like the iPhone 13, which is not a bad thing since it's a redesign from the iPhone 12. But what's going to be a bigger change this year in the lineup is that we're going to say goodbye to the mini and we're going to be welcoming the Max. This year, Apple's not going to make a mini iPhone and instead make a Max iPhone. Makes a lot of sense since a lot of people want a bigger sized iPhone, and the sales reflect that the iPhone 12 and 13 mini didn't really sell that well. So Apple was gonna kill the mini anyways. And it's a good thing that Apple's making a Max sized phone for cheaper. Not a lot of people really want to spend upwards of $1,000 for a big sized iPhone. And in terms of upgrades, it's very minimal. We're getting the same wide and ultra wide cameras from the iPhone 13 Pro, which means it's going to get macro functionality now. And there's also going to be a new front camera with a bigger f1.9 aperture and autofocus. And that's about it for the iPhone 14 and 14 Max. Now here's the disappointing thing. It's coming with the A15 Bionic instead of the A16. What? You know, ever since I heard this rumor, I've been really confused. The A15 Bionic is not bad, it's still faster than many phones out there. But it's a year old and traditionally Apple has offered the same chip from the iPhone SE till the Pro Max. But the chip shortage is here to blame for this, and yeah, I can understand why Apple's just throwing the A15 Bionic into it. But at least it's not the A15 Bionic from the iPhone 13. Instead, it's the one from the iPhone 13 Pro, which had an extra GPU core and 6 gigs of RAM. It sounds more like Apple really wants to differentiate the standard and the Pro model way more this year. The A15 is still plenty fast though, and there won't be any big performance differences between the A15 and A16. And the pricing is gonna stay the same too. The iPhone 14 is gonna start at $799 and the iPhone 14 Max is gonna start at $899. I do wish it started at $749 since it's just a minor upgrade over the 13. But it is what it is. It's Apple. Now let's talk about the iPhone 14 Pro, the one I'm really excited about, and it's the biggest upgrade we have gotten to the iPhone in probably like 5 years. Where should I even start? The display. The notch is finally going away. Goodbye notch. And instead of the notch, we're getting a bell plus hole punch cutout. Now it does look obnoxious at first, but this design kind of grew on me. Yeah, we're getting way more space than the notch. The bezels are getting thinner too, up to 20% thinner. And we're finally getting always on display on the iPhone. There have been a lot of leaks and hints about it on iOS 16, which also has the redesigned lock screen, which kind of hinted us about an always on display. And it seems to be true. A lot of leaks from beta 4 and 5 show that an always on display is on works. Turning over to the back, we're getting the biggest upgrade to the iPhone camera in 7 years. The wide camera is going from a 12 megapixel sensor to a 48 megapixel sensor, which means we're going to get a lot of significant improvements. First, the sensor is getting larger, about 20% larger than the iPhone 13 Pro, and we'll be getting 8K recording, maybe even 4K cinematic mode. But obviously the most important thing is that the resolution is going to be even higher, which means we'll have way more space to work with, which is good. But I'm really curious on how it's going to work on low light, because a lot of phones have had 48 megapixel cameras, 50 megapixels, 64, 108, and yet they are very bad in low light. We'll have to see how this turns out. The iPhone 13 Pro's camera system is already great. I've been taking a lot of great photos with it, and hopefully the iPhone 14 Pro is a huge leap forward, as people say. Unlike the iPhone 14, the iPhone 14 Pro is getting the A16 Bionic, which means we are going to get performance improvements and better battery life. Also, just look at the camera bump evolution of the iPhones. The iPhone 10 looks tiny compared to the iPhone 13 Pro and the 14 Pro. Now with all this, there is a price increase, and that's actually fine because we are getting a lot of improvements that we have been waiting for a very long time. For the last 5 years, Pro iPhones have started at $1,000, and there are other phones out there which are priced way more higher than the iPhone 13 Pro already, like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. But all we can hope for is that there is way more base storage than before. I hope that it starts at 256 since we're getting 8K recording and the 48 megapixel camera, but some rumors do say it might also start at 128. Whatever happens, let's see. Anyways, the price is expected to start at $1,099 for the 14 Pro and $1,199 for the 14 Pro Max. These are most definitely the biggest upgrades we have gotten to the iPhone for a very long time, and the price increase is totally fine. Now yes, it's not gonna get USB-C, but that's for next year. Anyways, that's all that's out there about the iPhone 14s, the Apple Watch Series 8 and the iPads. I'm really disappointed about the iPhone 14, it's just getting the A15, but I'm really excited about the iPhone 14 Pro since it's getting a new design and the biggest camera improvement we have gotten in a long time. Anyways, drop your opinions on what you think about this Apple event, and this is Sankew, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Peace. The last time I did something like this, I was wrong by a big shot.